Hey there, you guys. I am here for another story time video. Wait, what the heck happened? Well, never mind. Now that I've aligned the camera differently to tell this story time video. So, this story time video is going to be based on something that has been a big turning point of my life and something that a lot of us can learn things from. And yes, the topic of this video is COVID-19. So, the COVID-19 pandemic period had lasted exactly 1,151 days. And on day one, I remember waking up that Wednesday morning like it was any other. It was on March 11th, 2020. And usually in my former school, we would have a thing called Careers Fair every 2 years in the middle of March. And so it was supposed to be that week that I would have had Careers Fair. And so for 6 or 7 weeks, I have been working through all this stuff to get ready for the Careers Fair. I've been doing a lot of document work, and I've also been coming up with an idea of a money bill, some sort of, not like dollars or euros in this and that, totally created on my own. That was another kind of work that I did. And also in the late January 2020 period, I had a business meeting, and basically we were given instructions about what we would do to prepare for Careers Fair. And then it came to the week of the Careers Fair, right? And that Wednesday morning, usually on a Wednesday morning, my dad would drop me off to school. First, we would go to Starbucks, have a drink, and then he would drop me off to school. But that particular Wednesday morning, he had took me to Macro Center, and we did a whole lot of shopping. Then he dropped me off to school, and it was like any other day to start the school, the first two periods of the day. And then the news came during break time, and that gutted me so much, and so many others that have been putting all their efforts to work through this. We heard that the Careers Fair was going to be postponed, and that basically impacted my abilities to work the rest of the day. And returning home from school was hard. It feels like, to me, it still feels like it was a journey that just lasted 2 hours. Usually it would take between 50 and 60 minutes to get back home from school. And at the end of the day, I went into bed and looked at the news. It says COVID-19 has become a pandemic. That was day one. That was a crazy day one. The next day, I woke up sick and I had a cough, and it came to a point that I couldn't even go to school. Like, the pandemic had just started, and I had to stay home. But I got better on March 13th, which would have been the day of Careers Fair. And it turned out to be such a sad day, a somber day as well. It was so dull, especially in the minds of the students and the teachers. And I remember it being off to a cloudy start, like getting on the bus, off the bus in the morning, and getting on the bus in the afternoon, off the bus in the evening, made me think, holy shit, like I was so lost. And initially, the schools are projected to be closed for just 1 week. And the next week after that, we have moved to online classes. Many of you may have worked with Zoom, but I actually used Google Hangouts while doing my online sessions. And so my first day of online sessions was just insane. Like, I was on the verge of having to miss my first class because of bad internet connection, and it was a bizarre story. Genuinely speaking, at this time, it was my second to last year of being in high school, and for a long time, I've been saying, like, these numbers are just so exaggerated. Like, why are they taking this so seriously? Like, I believe that on some occasions that the numbers were just exaggerated, like when given the data of the COVID cases that come up every day. And, I was in Turkey at this time. Now I'm in Turkey as well. And on day 11 of the pandemic, that was just 2 days before I put myself into lockdown mode. And I heard over in the news, the first stage of the lockdown was that they would confine anyone that is 65 or above, because those that are 65 plus are considered vulnerable to any kind of sickness that they get, especially COVID. And day 12, me and my mom did some grocery shopping and we took a tour around the Bosphorus. Then we went to my grandma's house and like we took a lot of safety precautions. And it was a very, very tough day 12 as well. Like there was a geography assignment that I had to get done. I was yet halfway through finishing and it was due the next day. So I had to finish working on that. And luckily I got to publish it at like 8 or 9 p.m. that night. And day 13 of the pandemic period, that was day 1 of the lockdown period for me. Like I was consistently playing games on the Nintendo Switch just to lift myself up a little bit whenever I was free. So on my free time, I would play Nintendo Switch and just lift myself up. I'm like, heck yeah. And then on day 24 of the pandemic period, that's when the lockdown phase just went even further, where basically the lockdown would also come into effect for those that would be below 20 years old. I was 17, about to turn 18 at the time. Now I'm 23. Even as a 23-year-old right now, I still argue against the fact, like, why 20? Like, why not, like, 15 or 16? Because, of course, kids are also very likely to spread any sicknesses because, you know, like, they like to run around and they just seem to not care. So, like, 15 to 16 would be better. I still argue that, even as a 23-year-old now. And it was such a tough, like, it was just weeks before my birthday had come. And of course, the summer came, so we still enjoyed the summer. We still did anything we could during the summer. So we did our vacations, and then the lockdown measures started coming in effect again in the middle of November. On November 17th, 2020, I went to school, and it was like any other day. Of course, we would have to keep social distance and put masks and all that. So we couldn't really touch each other. We couldn't hug each other, or couldn't even high-five each other whatsoever. And I came back home, it was like any other day, and we heard from the cabinet, and they had said that until the end of the year, at least, schools would be going online. And the next morning, November 18th, I could barely sleep that Tuesday night of November 17th. That I went to sleep at 3 a.m., woke up 6:30. And it was just a very tough first day back to online. I intentionally ditched 2 classes that day. And this was during my senior year. And it was only for 6 weeks during my senior year that I actually got to go to school. So we had a virtual graduation. I didn't even get to watch it. I still didn't get to watch it, even to this date. Because by then I had already made a trip to the United States at the end of the year. I had just stayed there for 3 weeks. And that was just a crazy senior year. Like those that graduated in 2020, like they got to have like half of their senior year, and then in March, bang, the bullet just hits. But either not even going to school during your senior year or having like just a few weeks of your senior year at school does seem pretty crazy. And I have made 3 visits to my former school. 2 times in the 22-23 academic year, once in the 23-24 academic year. And in the 21-22 academic year, they still didn't allow any visitors into my school. And on May 5th, 2023, I woke up and that was the same day that I was enrolling into my first college classes for the fall 23 semester. I went to In-N-Out for lunch. I came back home and I found out that the COVID-19 pandemic has ended. And I'm like, wow, what a day. And I feel like the end of the COVID pandemic was a blessing because that was just 2 weeks after I had turned 21 years old, which is the age of legal drinking in the United States. And so I'm like, wow, that was great. That was a great time to get rid of all this. But yeah, looking back at my experience, like it gave me a lot of lessons and it made me learn a lot. And again, that was a big turning point of my life. Right then, you guys, so that is it. Do let me know in the comments if you had any similar COVID experiences like mine. See you guys